Welcome back to Coach's Corner West on this Monday night, the 31st of January. We're at the Pizza Hut here in Bucyrus. I'm your fill-in host, Mike Sparks, Dan Messerschmidt on assignment tonight, and it's time for the Wynford portion of tonight's show. Let you know that we'd like to thank our sponsors, Doug Lutholt and Adam Weisner and Associates at Advanced Fiber Technology, Coach Tim Plumley at Mohican Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, Matt Studer at Spitzer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Kia, 1 mile east of the Richland Mall. I'd like to welcome Assistant Coach Nate Smith and Karson Kimmell from the Wynford boys basketball team. And Coach, thanks for coming out tonight, bringing your kids. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
4-10 overall, 3-6 in the Northern 10 Conference, averaging just over 50 points a game and surrendering just a little over 62 points per game. And I want to go back a couple weeks to look at a couple games here. A game that I was at on the 18th, Tuesday the 18th, at home against Monroeville. Lost 69-62. Really had a strong first half. And really third quarter got it to double digits, and you had a really good Monroeville team on the ropes that is playing very well in the Firelands Conference. And they changed up their defense a little bit, took Jaron Filliater out of the game, so to speak. I think he had 17 in the first half and 10 in the second, which you think 27, that's pretty doggone good. But there's some other kids that did some things, but Isaac Rader really took over the game, got to the rack, did a lot of good things, and they chipped away and they won. Pretty solid team, but still nice effort for your group.
Yeah, I mean, you described exactly what I would say about that game, but Isaac Rader was the reason that we lost that game, because he decided that they were going to win, and we really could not do anything against a kid like that. He scored 1,000 points for a reason.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we came out on the wrong end of that game, but Jaron obviously had a fantastic game, just like he's been having almost all season. Yep. But our guys played fantastic, because I think there's a website, martinrpi.com or something, and Monroeville's number 10 in Division 4, and we probably played one of our better games against them. Unfortunately, it was only really for 3 quarters instead of 4.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt. It's a non-league game. It may help in the draw that's going to be coming up less than a week now. But they're having a really nice year with only 2 losses, and you had them on the ropes. Jaron Filliater, 27 points. Sam McMillan, I talked to him after the game. He was a freaking beast on the boards. Did a lot of nice things, and I was very impressed. And as we mentioned, Isaac Rader paced the Eagles with 29 points. Then you went to Cary, or had Cary at home the following Saturday. Tough one, 67-42. They're just so doggone athletic, and they just get out and they get after it, because it's so many of those football kids that know how to win because they were on the state championship team.
Right. They won a state championship for a reason after watching them play basketball and football. Tough to match up 1 through 5. They're about 1 through 9 of that much athleticism. We didn't play very well, regardless of the opponent, but they definitely deserve to win that game, because they're starting to get their basketball legs a little bit better. They played Crawford pretty tough the couple games before that, I think, right? Maybe a game before that. They've had some up and down games, but it's probably to be expected playing that many football games and only getting to be in basketball shape for a little bit less than maybe 2 months or so. Right?
Well, and they're playing an NBA type schedule,
right,
too.
So unfortunately, we got the good, not the good Cary team instead of the sluggish Cary team that I've seen a couple times. But overall, they're a tough matchup. They're going to be a tough one we face in the last game of the season, too.
No question. Thursday, the 27th, you were supposed to go up to Margaretta, a really solid team out of the Sandusky Bay Conference. That game was postponed, and now I understand today will not be made up. So you're going to finish with 21 games, because you're not going to try to slot somebody in at this point, are you?
Okay. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but Saturday you go over to Bucyrus, a team that beat you earlier in the year, that hadn't happened in a long, long time. And Jaron Filliater, who's here tonight, the senior, really had a monster game and was very motivated by a posting on social media that Bucyrus had never swept Wynford. As I said, they beat you on December 17th, 67-62, for the first time in 50 plus years. And Jaron said, "That scared the living crap out of me." That was your quote. I didn't want that. I was already part of the first team to lose to Bucyrus at home in 50 years, and you paced the Royals with 36. Sophomore Sam McMillan, who's here, huge impact in the win, especially with the game tied 56-all with 4:07 to go. Sam scored 9 of his 17 in the final few minutes after sitting 10-plus minutes with 4 fouls. Also grabbed 10 rebounds and finished with a double-double. You led 18-17 after 1, trailed 37-36 after Malachi Bayless made 1 of 3 free throws at the end of the half. You go into halftime, what do you and your dad, Coach Mike Smith, Coach Kroll, Coach Kimmell here, what are you saying to the kids? And did you notice any tightness?
I would say, yeah, we did, because our message, like my dad, Coach Smith, said in the paper, Bucyrus treats that game as, we like to call it the Super Bowl for them.
Right.
Now, we might be wrong, but if you watch them play Wynford over the last, all 25 years of my life, it's the Super Bowl. They love that game. If they win that game, it makes their season. And they haven't beaten us at home in, since 1967 or something like
right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So they had just done, they could have done something they've never done, and they played like that. And we didn't really match that intensity the first half, so our message coming into halftime was, first of all, you've got to get stops. You can't give 37 points up again and expect to win.
Right.
Our guys responded to that, did not do that. We told them, you guys are scoring at will right now. You're taking the ball out of the net and you're still scoring 36 points. You have to somehow, some way figure out a way to stop them. And we made a couple adjustments in our defense. Jaron stepped up. Sam definitely stepped up in the fourth quarter at the end to seal the game for us. But the senior leaders really, I think they're more of leaders by example, less than, they're not as much vocal leaders, but their example of leadership in that second half was unbelievable. Finally see them come out on top on a situation like that, where we had a Monroeville game or some of our other closer games where we came out on the losing end, or the first Bucyrus game. That was great to see, and not only was it to avoid losing to them for 2 times in one season, maybe in the history of Wynford, and then it also was the game where we could beat our win total from last year. There was a lot of pressure on those kids.
Right.
So yes, to answer your question, I did see some tightness, but as soon as the third quarter kind of got into the flow, I really think they kind of eased out, maybe exhaled a little bit, and finally just played the game and took care of business in the fourth.
Karson Kimmell is assistant coach at Wynford, and you're 1 year removed from that rivalry.
Yep.
And I can imagine, had Bucyrus pulled that out, the roof would have come off Alice Kish, would it have not?
Oh yeah, that was probably the biggest crowd I've seen since I've been alive. It was packed. You could feel like the energy, and you could tell a couple times we scored, it just got so loud, and it was awesome.
Did it feel funny having the blue and gray sitting on that bench when so many years you were at the other bench and wanting to beat that team? How was that for you?
I mean, we're more than halfway through the season, so it's blue and gray all the way now. So
Okay.
I'm a Royal now.
But
so.
being back there, it didn't bother you all that much?
The first time going in the away locker room, that felt a little weird, and then
Yeah.
coming out, it felt a little weird, but I got used. I got settled in, and I started coaching. So.
Well, that's good. That's what it's all about. That's what it comes down to. Wynford leads 50-45 after 3, and then carries on with the win. The Royals now lead the all-time series 82-11. And as you mentioned, Coach Smith, it gets you over your win total from last year. And that's a good thing. That's progress. And I think all the kids should be happy with that and to see that improvement. I've seen this team 3 times now. I saw the Old Fort game, the Buckeye Central game, and the Monroeville game, and I can tell you that they have improved from my layman's eyes, for
That's
sure.
3 different teams.
Yeah, no question. Dylan Robinson, 6 points. James Schiefer with 4. Grant McGuire with 3. And Cohen Keith chipped in with 2 points, so that's excellent. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll talk to the young men around the table. Show's brought to you in part by Rob Lust at Edgefield Animal Clinic in Marion, Matt Ramsey, John Ziegler, Drew Young, Frank Heinlein and Associates at Bucyrus Blades, serving worldwide markets since 1951. Roger Brown at Winks Lock and Safe, South Poplar at West Warren Street in Bucyrus. First up, it's sophomore Sean Brindley. Sean, how are you?
Not bad, how are you?
Good for coming out tonight. And you're on mostly JV minutes, or are you playing varsity, some varsity as well?
JV minutes.
JV minutes. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit, because that team, I've been doggone impressed with that team. A lot of nice athletes there, young athletes. You're one of them. How fun has it been to play with these guys?
It's been a great time. I love every minute of it.
Yeah, and you should. At 9-5 overall, 6-3 in the Northern 10 Conference. You knock off Crawford over at their place. You got them coming up, hopefully Wednesday, if the weather permits. Get another chance to play them. What's been really kind of your goal, and what was it? First of all, what position are you playing on the team?
I'm more of a big man.
A big,
He's a
opposed.
hybrid
Okay.
guy.
Yeah,
He's a
hybrid, can move out. Are you allowed to shoot the 3?
Yes.
Okay, you're allowed to let it rip. Okay. Have you done a few this year?
Yeah.
One.
One.
Made one.
Made one.
First
Okay.
points of the game against Crawford was a 3 by Sean Brindley.
That's good. That's good. When you get to play with all these young guys and you see the prospect of how this team's going to mixed with younger guys on the varsity level. What's that make you excited about in years to come?
It just makes me excited to see what we can do in the future.
Where do you have to improve your game as you finish out this season and going into next year?
Just mainly the basics, get them down all the way. Just can't err up on anything.
No, for sure. Well, continued success. Good luck the rest of the year, and I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, it is sophomore Dawson Pelter. Hi, Dawson. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. It's good to see you. And I think it was in that Monroeville game. I saw you put up a 3, right? Didn't you hit one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Carry.
What's that?
Carry.
Oh, did you put one up against Monroeville? Because I wasn't at Carey game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because a lot of kids get in late. You got a nice game out of there. But same with you. Kind of, it has to be kind of fun playing with these kids. I mean, the 8th graders last year were champions, and now they're coming up and making some impact. How fun has that been to switch over from junior high basketball to now high school
It's
basketball?
been great. I mean, we got a big group of great guys, and just to put them all together and just go dominate, that's been really fun to see.
What's the biggest thing you've learned in making that jump from junior high to more high school? Because you could be playing against some juniors, for that matter, likely sophomores and freshmen. What's that been like?
Probably just you got to be a lot more tough, like a bit longer game, and the bigger kids like carry a lot of big guys playing football, so you just got to be tough and just go for it.
Have you noticed the game's just gotten a lot more physical once you jump up to the high school
Yeah,
level?
absolutely. Yeah.
So weight room is going to be pretty important
Yeah, I
moving
got to
forward.
crank out a bunch of lifts. So yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. What have you liked when you look at the whole program? How it's gone from where it started to where it is now?
I mean, the community is just the support that everybody has together. I mean, we opened up the new gym last year, had the naming of it at the beginning of this season, and just how everybody comes together.
Yeah.
We're a great basketball team, and everybody just gets behind us. And
Yeah,
goes
good.
out. Yeah.
Well, continued success the rest of the year and many years to come.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Jaron Filliater's up next, and it's always good to speak to you, Philly. And I always find that funny when I'm listening to our games on the radio, and I think it's probably Josh Stalling specifically. He references you as Philly or Langendorfer, Avery Langendorfer as Durf, and I'm like, man, we're using nicknames now.
Well, Josh is my neighbor, so I mean, it kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Josh is over a lot in the summer.
Okay, so
yeah.
it's not like, it
Yeah.
just kind of goes that way. Well, the big games continue to go, and none bigger than against your rival and one of your rivals in Bucyrus. And you know, let's be honest here. We're gonna lay it on the table. How nervous were you before that game? Were you tight?
Oh yeah, I think I said, if you were reading the paper, I think I said to the guys in the paper too that that's probably the most nervous I've ever been before
Right.
a game.
Yeah.
I try not to show it, because I don't want to make my teammates nervous. But
I had no idea he was nervous.
oh yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah,
I was
you-
very nervous.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want streaks to end. I mean, inevitably they're going to at some point. You know, the football, Bucyrus is going to beat Wynford in football at some point. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You just don't want to be the team to do it. But kudos to you for having great games. And but is it starting to set in now that as you see the kind of the sands of the hourglass of this season start to tick away a little bit? There's not much left. You're 3 weeks and then tournament. Of your senior year. Have you thought about that much?
I mean, I feel like we've been so busy, it hasn't really crossed my mind that much. And also basketball, I love basketball as much as football, but basketball is, you can always play after high school. So I mean, but yeah, it hasn't really crossed my mind as much as it did in football maybe because, but yeah, it's. I mean, I think about it every now and then.
So not to add any more pressure to you that you don't need, but you grew up in the community. You've gone to Wynford games forever. Your dad played for Wynford. Your mom went to Wynford. And coming up Friday is your last home game, albeit at the new gym, but you played in both gyms. When you walk off the court at the Johnson gym on Friday, what's that going to be going through your mind? Last time in front of your home crowd.
I feel like, I probably won't realize that. Obviously I'll know that it's my last game, but probably won't feel like it obviously because it didn't. Same way in football, it didn't feel like our last home game was Upper Sandusky. It didn't feel like it's like we've never been in a situation before where there's not a next year.
Right.
So I think obviously I'll know, but it'll take a couple of days or a couple of weeks maybe to realize that that's I'll never play here again. So.
Yeah. Well, it won't be the final game. You still
Yeah.
have some things to take care of. So, well, best of luck, continued success to you, and I appreciate you coming out again. Sam McMillan, sophomore, like I said, I meant that with all honesty, a freaking beast on the boards, and that's what you've been. The times that I've seen you, you've been so active, and you can shoot, you can score, but you have to be proud of what you've been doing on the glass at both ends. Has anybody called you Windex because you always clean the glass? Has anybody called you that? Or
No, but I have the nickname Garbage Man.
what is it?
Garbage Man.
Okay, well, that'll work too. I like Windex, but Garbage Man will work. This first full year of varsity, what's this been like for you? As a person, as a young person, how have you grown not only as a basketball player, but as a person?
Well, it was a lot different coming up from JV. It was a lot faster. And I feel like I just kind of helped me mature.
Have things slowed down for you now? When you look back at that Old Fort game to where you are now, has the game, it's still fast, but in your mind, has it mentally slowed down a little bit for you now?
It kind of just comes more natural now. I've been playing a lot of
Were you really nervous at Bucyrus on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't like this.
So what clicked late in the game? Because you're burdened with foul trouble. What clicked late in the game that got you through that?
I just didn't really want to lose that game, but I tried to do the most I could to prevent that.
So right there is maturity for a sophomore. You proved it to yourself that you had it within you. You didn't run and get and hide and get in a shell or anything like that. So good on you. Well, enjoy the rest of the year and have a lot of fun. Get as many wins as you can. Appreciate it. Before we come back and talk to the coaches, I want to remind everybody we're brought to you in part by Lee Plimo and Brad Seibert at the Plimo Insurance Group, Bucyrus and Gallion, Hannah Newton at Wendy's, downtown Bucyrus, Upper Sandusky, North Central State College Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center in Bucyrus. And getting ready to wrap things up, talk a little bit about your JV team. That's your primary job, and Coach Kimmell, you're involved with that as well, and you do a lot of things with both the varsity and the JV. 9-5 overall, 6-3 in the Northern 10. Pretty happy with that right now?
Yeah, since last time I was on, we were like 7-2, I think, before, so
Yeah.
we had a rough stretch coming up, but we've had some pretty tough opponents. Carrie's JV team is undefeated.
That's what I understand.
And then Football Loud was really good, but some of the bigger teams with some juniors. But I would say overall, yeah, we're pretty pleased with what they're doing. Like I said last time, we're getting, for the most part, getting 10 guys in most of the time. So, and they're getting pretty equal minutes, which is great for the program development, and we can do that while winning. So you can't really complain too much. Obviously, they all know we've been talking about what we need to work on to move up to the next level. It's kind of been my message for the whole season. But overall, the 10 and when we play home games, we've been dressed as 15. So some of the freshmen that get to come, they always do everything you want them to do. Do they always succeed? Not always, but that's sports. So at the end of the day, like you said, am I pleased with it? Yeah, I am pleased with it.
Good. Well, games coming up, Coach Kimmell. You got Colonel Crawford, who, if they're not number one in the AP, should be at this point, since Versailles got beat over the weekend. They defeated you 67-51 right before Christmas at their place, a game that is probably closer than the score indicated. They're a really good team, let's face it. They'll be a tough draw, but I'm sure, again, weather permitting, if we can get people there, it should be a crazy scene. How much are you looking forward to that one?
Should be a fun one, a chance to beat the number one team probably in the state, and I think we had a really good game plan the first time we played them. I think in the third quarter we just didn't have a couple of shots fall our way. They hit a couple, and then they pulled away a little bit. But I think we can compete with them for 4 quarters and have a chance with 2 minutes left to win the ball game.
And then the last home game, as I mentioned, you have Mohawk at home on Friday. Again, weather permitting, lost 64-39 back on the 18th of December. That'll be a tough one. Paul Dunn does a nice job with his group, but what's going to have to change for your team to be successful against Mohawk?
Well, one, I think that's a totally different team they're facing this time that they're coming into our gym. We're playing a lot better. We're playing as a team. We're getting 7 guys in that are playing really well on the offensive end. If we clean up a couple things on the defensive end, limit them, give them some stops, and I think we can compete.
Next Tuesday, you go on the road to Crestline, a former NCC and short time in the N10 foe, a team that's playing much better, pretty senior laden team. They have some bigs in R.J. Johnston, and they got a nice guard play, good defensive end. Lucas Cochran's really strong on the boards, strong in scoring. That's going to be a tough game over there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's going to be tough. They're very physical. They're a bunch of football guys playing basketball right now, so we're getting a chance to watch them tonight. So I haven't seen them play yet, so I don't really have much to say about them. So,
Yeah.
but you know, our guys are going to come hard, and we're going to want to win that game because they're in the same county as us. So
Yeah.
we want some bragging rights. So.
Yeah, before we close here, what's been your experience this year? Talk about, I mean, your mom's in the school district, your dad was a player and a coach.
Yep.
What's it been like at Wynford? How much have you embraced having an opportunity to do something that you're passionate about?
Well, it's been awesome. It's been a chance. Both Coach Nate Smith and Coach Mike Smith for giving me the opportunity. I'm very grateful. I'm just honestly just making the best of it.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yep.
And it's a great opportunity for such a young person.
Yep.
Is that something you eventually want to do, is be a head coach?
Oh, hopefully, but it's not my aspirations right now. I just want to sit in the back seat and let the older people call the shots.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they appreciate you having on there and being, again, you can relate to the kids because you're 1 year removed. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you played
Yep.
against Philly, and so
Yeah, I guarded him last year, so it's been kind of weird. But
I didn't play very good. I didn't have nearly 36 points at Bucyrus last year.
Is that right?
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
played
he definitely redeemed himself.
Yeah, great. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Good luck this week. 2 tough games, but the team's coming in the right direction. You got your tournament draw coming up Sunday. This coming Sunday, you'll see what happens there, and let the chips fall where they may. Keep improving, and I appreciate you giving up your time.
thanks for having us.
You bet. We're going to take a break. It's Buckeye Central girls basketball right after this timeout.